Yeah! Uncle Charlie back on the bench. Uncle Charlie just nearly barked off. Got to try the battery still. I'm eating a chocolate because it's breakfast. So I'm back in here with Charles. I've got to secure the carbies down. But I was looking at, to me, quite an interesting picture of the wiring looms and all that lot earlier. And in a few of them, there's another earth strap. And I can't see it. I mean, it should be in the same part of the loom as what this coil comes over. So, I don't know. Oh, there's a little electrical connector behind there. What's that? Or is that something trapped? Well, there's nothing electrical there, Jim Bob. I don't know. Oh, I see. It's alright. I found it. This green wire. On Hondas of this age, green is ground and black is live. So somebody's put the other earth on the fan mount, which I'm guessing is fine. The only thing being, the fan mount is rubber mounted, so it's not actually, ground into frame like it should. So as usual, it's in a bastard of a place. But I'm going to take that earth off and put it on there like it should be, and then we're at least sort of guaranteeing a good earth. Yes, we're getting there. I'm having a nice slow steady day today because it's Saturday morning. I finished my last night shift last night, and I'm already at the stage where I've already told many inanimate objects to fuck off. If you've ever done nights, you know what I mean. So, while I'm waiting for La Batteria to charge, I might even leave it on overnight. I'm just going through all these electrical connectors because I haven't had a really good look at the loom. Because the main thing was to get some carbs on, because the carbs were in bits when we got the bike. So the main thing was to get the carbs on, get them sort of roughly set, and then see what's what. And before Christmas I did have it running okay, but what I want to do now is go through just all the loom blocks, just check for any corrosion that would cause any resistance, poor voltage, anything like that. By the looks of it, she's had a new stator at some point, which is really common, or a new regulator, sorry. Really common on Hondas, very common. Ironically, everybody says, oh, get a Honda, you won't go wrong with a Honda, and Hondas never go wrong, and all this lot. The most unreliable bikes I have ever had, including Italian bikes. Sorry, Olive. Sorry, not you. The most unreliable, and some of material quality poor, has been Honda. Definitely. So they're a bit like BMW many years ago. I mean, back in the 80s and stuff, BMW was absolute premium brand. Not in Germany, never has been, but absolute premium brand over here. But when I had my 7.5 ton and all that lot, which I had Grandad's rights on, son! One of my friends had a contract for a local BMW garage, and every time they went out to a breakdown, which was a lot, it always had to be a covered transporter, so nobody knew it was a BMW. So yes, but yeah, Hondas, regulator rectifiers on Hondas, very common for them to go, especially on these little 400s. They were known for it, even the NC30s, etc. And the cure at the time was to put a CBR 600 one on, because they were allegedly built better. I found the best ones that you can buy are Electrex World. Olive's got an Electrex World on, and her Start solenoid is Electrex World, and when the Electrex World one came, it looked like the exact same one I'd bought previously from Wamoto, funnily enough, and it burned it out. Because the problem with Olive is big single, goes thumpy thumpy thumpy, loads of vibes that don't necessarily reach you, but they're there. One of the posts on the solenoid would start to come loose, and as it starts to come loose, it forms a bad connection with high resistance, and it burns the solenoid out. Because you'll know when it's happened, because you'll turn the bike on and it will just go click. It will sound like the engine's hydrolocked. It will just go click. If you bridge the contacts, I've done this in a past video, if you look at Olive's playlist, just bridge that solenoid. Unfortunately, you can't get to it, it's right under the tank. Just bridge the solenoid with a screwdriver, and if it goes thumpy 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 thumpy, you know it's a solenoid. So I put an Electrex World on, and touch wood. Oh god, no, I'm going to find a bit of fucking wood. There we go, touch wood. It's been fine, and like I say, when I first got Olive, none of the electrics worked. Literally none. And I started cleaning earths up and all that lot, and it wasn't charging. So I thought, oh, okay, the rectifier's gone, fair enough. I expect it on a used bike to have to do things. But I cleaned all the earths up and all that lot, and everything worked. So I have actually got a spare rectifier for Olive. But I put the new one in. I put one in spurt. Spurts went. Fortunately I got home, and then it was when I went to move it afterwards that the battery was dead, so fortunately that got me home. But on these 400s I had one go on my NC24, and I was doing about an 8 mile each way commute at the time, and it got to the point where I'd like have to charge the battery overnight so I could get to work, charge the battery at work so I could get back home again before all the lights and the sparkage failed. Because as you withdraw the battery, the charging systems were pretty much working overtime, and you start to get weak sparks and stuff like that. So it'd be chuffing and banging by the time it came down the street. Because I was pig ignorant then. Yeah, pig ignorant now. I'm just very good at it. So I'm just going through any sign of green fuzziness or anything like that. Get some contact cleaner on there. If you can get a tiny little brush in there, you know, stiff nylon brush or something like that, something like a kid's paint brush is great. Just put some contact cleaner on there, or I can't say it, but you know what I mean, isopropyl alcohol, because that'll do it, because it'll clean the contacts up, and then it will evaporate. So give it time to evaporate, because obviously otherwise it's very flammable. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, nice. Oh, and my sister's just turned up with cake, so it's time for a cake break. Green crusties. They look a little bit dry and horrible. Let's clean them up. Yes. Hey, I've cleaned all the contacts up. One of these plugs were the wrong way round, and I don't know whether you see it, this brown wire was actually trapped. Somebody trapped it under the bolt, and it's pinched the wire. Hopefully it hasn't broken it. So hopefully I put some enough juicylation in the battery. Let's see what the little bugger does. I might just that's promising. It's more than it was doing last time. I've got a funny feeling we had some quite large resistance on some mildly corroded terminals. It's enough to pull the voltage. That might want to come down actually. But it is at least. Hey! Oh, that was a lot better. Let's tickle it up a bit. I'm just tickling the idle. May have gone a bit too far. Tickle it back a little bit. And tickle it back a little bit more. See, bear in mind, if it hasn't run for ages, they're a bastard to get going again. Come on. It's getting there. It's getting there. wonder if yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Right. Well, I'll carry on working on it for a bit, but we're step forward at last.
A few moments later.
Oh, that just ran for a little while then, and when I grabbed the camera and went to film it, it stopped. So. Just finding that little sweet spot where it's getting the right settings. Which way did you come on, you little bugger? I'm starting to drain the battery again now. But yeah, well, we're closer than what we were. What I might do is I'm going to take these back coil wiring off and just make sure they're watty proofed, and I'm going to do all the connectors at the back up to the rear lights just in case, because if resistance is anywhere in this loom it will weaken the spark. So yes, we'll see, and I'm not 100% sure. I might have to drain the coolant and just move the radiator out of the way just to make sure I've got these front spark plug boots in. And I might even end up whipping all the plugs out and just cleaning them, so it's got a good chance. But we'll see. But I remember when I used to do my NC24 and do the spark plugs, I always used to just drain the rad and swing it out of the way. You get quite adept at it. So I might just do that. It won't hurt it to run for a few minutes without any coolant in it. So I've been going through the loom. Obviously I found the trap wire. There was a bit of light corrosion in what some of the charge loom was, and also the two plugs to the ECU was showing a little bit of furriness, so they've all been cleaned up, and I have just had the devil's own job getting this out, and when I turned it upside down it was full of water, which cannot be doing it any good. Now I don't even know what this is, but I have the devil's own job getting the connector out, and the pins are a little bit green and furry, but I ended up doing the tab and then getting the pliers gently underneath it and just wiggling it. I don't know what this is. It could be something like a start relay, although that's the starter solenoid, to be fair. It could be turn signal relay, because the turn signals aren't working, they're not even making a noise. This is heavy. I think this has got liquid in it or something like that. So I'm going to go online and find out what it is. Hey, what it is, mate? On the parts microfiche from what's that site called, the Dutch one, CNSML or whatever they're called, and have a look to see if I can't see what it is, because there will be a generic replacement somewhere, because I do not think this is functioning. So I'm just going to try and prise it open, take the cover off and see what's underneath. I think it's a bit like one of them relays with a set of points in. Might be completely wrong, but I've got an idea it's the turn relay, but I'm not certain. You never am, Jim. I managed to get the cover off. I had just slightly broken it there, but if I'm going to replace it, it's not really an issue, and a bit of silicone daubed over the top, it'll cure it. The plugs, I have given them a squirt of the WD, but they're not brilliant, really not brilliant. I'm just seeing if there's a way to, there's obviously like a circuit board and something there. I'm just seeing if that'll pull out of the housing. I don't know whether it's glued in at the bottom or anything like that. We shall soon find out, because I have the tools of repair here. See, that's a clue, isn't it? Because that's your wiring. Bell End, Live and Epidemic. Yes. So I find out what it is. It is the turn signal relay. The turn signals aren't working. It's not clicking. It's not doing note. So there are aftermarket ones available as well. I'm going to rip the casing off because I know I can replace it. Nice. And just find out what the issue is. But the fact that it was full of water does not bode well. One moment, please. Some disassembly required. Now, I've already found a replacement, so it's not a problem. And like I said before, it is the flasher relay. And I think I know why it wasn't working. Now the bottom section, well, top as you're looking at it, that had like a foam sort of pad over it. It was stuck to a foam pad. The circuit board was stuck inside the casing, is what I'm trying to say. But it looks like it's a couple of electronical clicky clocky boxes and not a mechanical one. So yes, but the fairiness there has extended there. So that wouldn't have worked in a month of Sundays. So we've got to find a turn relay now. Yes, a generic little 3-pin one will do.
12 seconds later.
I don't know how well you can hear me, but I've just tried to drain that float bowl and nothing came out of it. So I've just introduced fuel down all the throats and it appears to be running on all four. I've cleaned the two back plugs, they were good, but I just dripped some fuel down, it's fired straight up. So whether it just needed a bit of assistance, because it's definitely running on all four to go, I don't know, but we'll just keep our eye on it. I'm going to hopefully run it for a bit. Shall we see if it restarts, Bernard? Uncle Barnyard is here, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Barnyard, what have you been up to today?
Playing my guitar. Playing with my guitar.
Oh yeah, is that the one in the trousers or your actual guitar?
I tuned it all up, the Fender.
Aye.
Tuned it all up.
Oh yes, your Stratocaster or
Stratocaster, yes.
Oh, just
but I've just had to charge my
penis.
earmuffs up.
Oh yes, yes.
Not earmuffs.
Yes, if headphones.
Boxer sugar.
Boxer, you've had to charge up your boxer shorts.
Sugar and salt.
What?
I don't know what I'm talking
Anyway, let's see if the little fucker starts again.
Yes, do it.
Come on, Charlie. What do you reckon, Bernard?
Yes.
Will you bugger me? Hello. I've been having a little. It's now Sunday morning, and this video will hopefully drop a little bit later this morning. Can you hear me over the fan? I do hope so. Anyway, as you've just seen on footage, we've got Charlie running. Well happy about that. Really happy. But I did find it odd that when I went to drain the float bowl, nothing came out. That could just be something as simple as, quite often when you strip and clean carbatincles and then, you know, leave them hanging around for a couple of days, like what invariably happens, is that the float needles are notorious for sticking. Now usually they stick in the down position, because obviously you keep your carburetors right way up. So usually what happens is the floats will stick down until they get lubricated by fuel. And quite often when you first put a carb on a bike, it can overflow fuel. A quick cure is just get a screwdriver or something like that and just tap the float bulb, tappy tappy tappy, and that usually it's enough of a shock to reseat everything and get everything going again. And then if it's in regular loose use, you shouldn't have any more trouble. Alternatively as well, they can stick, although it's a lot rarer, they can stick up and they'll shut fuel off, and then they'll need a jiggy again to loosen them up and work. Now the bike's running, but when I put the airbox on and what have you, I did notice the revs are hanging, which usually means there's an air leak or a vacuum leak. There are no vacuum takeoffs on the bike. They're actually, the vacuum takeoffs for the carb sink are actually cast into the cylinder heads. They've got a little screw, and then you screw an adapter in, and then do it from there. A lot of motorcycles, those adapters are on the carburetors, and in others they're on the boots, on the rubber boots that join them to the cylinder. We have got, I have done, before I get too far off my kilter, I have done the spray test around the boots with brake clean, and basically what that does, if you've not got a good seal between the engine and the Kachaba tinkles, this works with throttle bodies as well. If you spray some brake clean while it's running at those boots, it will ingest it. If there is an air leak, it will ingest it, the revs will go up, you know you've got an air leak. And you can do that between the carbs and airbox, and you can do it between the carbs and engine. Usually 9 times out of 10 it's between carbs and engine. And then you know where your problem is, go and examine your boots or reseat the carbs. If you take carbs off a bike and there's silicon sealer around those boots, it's a danger sign. Just get a new boot. Now some bikes it's hard to get a boot for, but quite often you'll get them these days. Parts supply is actually, I think, for a lot of bikes getting better, which is good. When I had my NC24s and stuff, because they were such a rare machine over here, I mean, when the grey bike thing was all in the 90s beat, it was quite difficult to get parts. There used to be a really good bike shop in Swadlincote, I can't remember the name of it, but they used to do all grey imports, and it was a lady that ran it called Dawn, and she was like a guru of what parts would fit what. She would cross-reference a load of the parts, so you know, if like a valve fit one bike, she'd cross-reference it and see what else it fitted and stuff like that. It's really handy. Anyway, getting off me fucking track. So the revs are hanging with the airbox on. Now when I pulled the 2 rear plugs to inspect them and clean them, make sure there's a good spark, the electrodes on those plugs, they're new plugs, are very very thin and shit anyway, but they're firing okay, but they looked like the bike had been running rich. So what I'm going to do for peace of mind, mate, is I'm going to whip the carbs off again. I'm going to double check the float heights, and I'm going to double check that all the air screws, the air fuel mixture screws, are pretty much where they should be, and then at least I know they're good. It just takes that guesswork out of it, because last time I just cleaned them, and if you've took carbs apart, bit of a schoolboy error, if you take carbs apart, recheck them when you put them back together again, everything is good. All the floats went back in the same bowls, you know, and all that lot, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee anything. Also, one thing I didn't check was the diaphragms. Now a good check for a diaphragm is lubricate the slide first, put a little bit of just brake clean or something on it, and just push it up with your finger and you'll hear a and then they should return under their own pressure with no stiction or anything like that. When the bike's running, they get lubricated, the slide gets lubricated by the fuel vapour. But if you get any sort of stiction or you don't hear that, I enjoyed that, I may do that again. It means you possibly have a split in the diaphragm and it can't maintain the air pressure in it. So that's just something to look for. The danger of that is sometimes diaphragms are a right bastard to get back in and seal correctly, which is why I don't often take them apart. They can, like all rubber components, enlarge and swell up, and then they're the God's own bastard to get back in again. So I don't know. But anyway, I've had a little go on the pipe of perusal, and I think that's what we need to do. I'm glad I've gone through the wire loom. I need to go through the clock loom. The temperature gauge isn't working, which irritates me, because if it's got corrosion in the loom that's been under the seat and all this lot, I mean, bear in mind it's an old bike, there's every chance there might be a little bit of furriness. I have had the clocks off, but they're working, so you know, don't bother looking because they're working, but it won't hurt. I've got to put the washer on the exhaust. There's just a few little jobs, but the bodywork, oh, so brittle. I just dread it, absolutely dread it. I think the correct course of action for Mr. Steve is there are plenty of replica nose cones out there now which all fit well. They're going to be so much better than the original, so much better, because all the originals now, they are like dime bars. You literally touch it and it goes snap. I mean, I repaired the last one, but somebody had the wrong mirrors on, so they'd re-drilled the fairing. It had a damaged clock fairing mount, so I've got another one of those, so everything lines up now as it should. But the fairing's just been butchered over the years, and it's just for the time and effort that it takes to repair it, and then it's just going to snap again. Fuck it off and just get a replacement. That's down the line. The brakes are good. My NC24, when I had one, it was a daily rider mate. And God, I think I was stripping and cleaning brakes about every month on that, and I had the same calipers on a CBR 750, which was an import, and they were just as bad for getting stuck up and all this lot. But yeah, these seem all right. We've put the proper rebuild kit in. Hang on. Wait. No, we're safe. Oh, beefy and black bean sauce last night. Everybody likes their own fragrance, don't they? Anyway, I just thought that I'd film this bit to end the video, because obviously just ending it like that, I've not really explained anything. No, you still haven't. So yeah, there's a few little jobs. But Steve says I can pick the next project up as I desire, which I think will fit in the back of Steve's van. So we'll see. I may give you a clue, but I'd sooner give you a clue when it's close to landing, because it's going to need a little bit of work. I've got to source an exhaustage for it, and I've got to source a carbotinkle for it. I have no idea what engine capacity it is. No idea. It could be anywhere between 50 and 140. I don't know. But it's going to be a fun little thing. But I'm not going to tease it just yet. So yeah. So we're going to sign this one off, and then we'll see how we do. But I think it would be a wise move to get those carbs off again, just double check everything, double check the air screws, double check the flow tight, which I should have done when I had them on the bench, but I'm an impatient arse. You know, if I get anything new, got to use it, you know, stuff like that. So if something's repaired, got to see if it works. This is why I will never get into the restoration game or anything like that. Have not got the patience. Have not got the patience. Can't paint to save me life. I'm sort of alright with nuts and bolts, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, this is the end of this video. Hope you're enjoying the Charlie content. I'm sort of enjoying working on it. It's bringing back a lot of memories actually of previous bikes, because I sort of remember times by, oh, I had that bike by then. You know, not necessarily who you were going out with or what music was around or anything like that. It's, oh, I had that bike then. Yeah, so yeah, it's some good memories. They are fantastic little machines, those VFRs. They sound, when they come on cam, they're fucking awesome, really are. But just the fact that you saw in the video, you're just cracking it open, they're fluttering slightly. It was a little bit off-putting. When the bike warms up a bit, it actually revs okay, but then, like I say, the revs hang, and that is the sign of an air leak. But it can also be air screws are setting correctly and all this lot. So yeah, I think double check, triple check, get them back on again. I might put, have I got the new carburetor rubbers? Oh, I think these are I think the pipe suits me, don't you? I think these could be them actually, still in the package, because I mean the old rubbers aren't leaking. But it don't hurt, does it? They do deform slightly. Yeah, there they are. And one thing to watch for, I didn't know actually until I actually looked at the parts marker fiche the other day. The clips that hold the carburetors to the rubber are different clips, totally different part number to the ones that hold the rubbers to the engine. So it might just be worth, you know, having a look at them, make sure they're all the right way around. I mean, I used to run my NC24 with no clamps on at all, and it used to run all right. Oh, they're quite now. Oh, they're lovely and pliable. I think it would be a good idea to replace these, because after all, Uncle Steve bought them. So let's put them on. We did buy new clutch paper and stuff for it, but the old one's absolutely fine. So I'm not going to put the new one on. You can have that as a spare, because the old one's fine. There's no fraying. It works well, and it's lubricated, so that's all right. The clutch switch works. One thing I've got to look on Spurt actually before it goes for, well, just for general use as well, because it's a pain in the arse, is that the neutral light has stopped working. Now I had to make a sort of Heath Robinson connection to get it to work, because the wire was damaged. So that's probably come apart. So I'm going to put a proper little one of my little solder connectors on there and do that. That's a little job for Spurt. I don't think Spurt needs anything more doing. I might. I'm really tempted to put the other airbox on Spurt, because it's in way better condition than the one that's on it, and I can double check the seal between the carbs and the airbox, because that's notorious for air leak. So there's loads of little jobs to keep me going. Jim, shut up, it's Sunday, say goodbye. Bye. Yeah, press the button, press the heat. Oh, beautiful heat.
What the?